The Flavour of Iraq, a graphic literary novel that aims to bring a different picture of the country to the international audience, has been awarded France's most prestigious journalism award, which is called the Albert Londres. Its author and reporter, Franco-Iraqi Feurat Alani, joins us now and said, Mr. Alani, of course we want to hear more about your book and congratulations. But first, can I get your reaction to the news coming from Iraq today? We're seeing those widespread protests being told it's the biggest unrest since the fall of Saddam Hussein. Do you feel that this was expected, necessary? How do you see it?
Yeah, it's not a surprise, to be honest. Since 2003, the situation in Iraq is chaotic with corruption, violence, and the war. And the youth that are demonstrating today, they didn't really leave the violence during 2003. They're just living very basic services on a daily basis, no electricity, no jobs, and it's very difficult for them. So it's and the good thing with them, they're not protesting under a religious banner. It's about Iraq and the citizenship of Iraq.
Oh, that's interesting, that united strengths there. Of course, you say it all kind of changed really since 2003. That changed the situation in Iraq dramatically, even you say the identity of the country.
Yeah, and this is the main issue in Iraq today, because when you express yourself as an Iraqi, you had to talk from a Sunni or Shia or Arab or Kurd perspective. Today, they are fighting for their rights, basic rights, under the unique banner of the Iraqi citizenship. This is the very important news when we hear what is going on today, even if it's very sad to see that people are dying for this.
In a way, is the international community, notably the US invasion, a bit to blame for having dragged up those sectarian divisions at the time? And, you know, how do you think the international community should react now?
Yeah, of course, it was a big mistake in 2003 to destroy the institutions of Iraq. When they came, the US administration talked about Iraqi again under specific banners. They gave specific identities to many Iraqis. And it was impossible at that time to talk as an Iraqi. You had to talk as a Shia or Kurd or Arab or Sunni member. So this is something that led to what we are seeing today, 16 years later. And again, this is not a surprise, and it will last for long, for sure.
Indeed, that is what we're all wondering, is how it might end. But bring me back, I mean, because when you know, we're looking at the impact the US invasion had, but at the same time, your own personal story. I mean, your father fled his native country because of Saddam Hussein. Yes,
he was an Iraqi opponent to Saddam Hussein, as many Iraqis at that time, in the 70s. He left in 72. Then we know what happened, 79, the Islamic Revolution in Iran, then the war against Iran, the Kuwait invasion, the embargo, and the US-led invasion of Iraq. And what we can describe as well and see today is that we can see the impact of the US invasion of Iraq, where Iran today is playing a huge role in Iraq. And the protests today are also about Iran, about being independent. And the youth are saying Iraq as an identity, and Iran outside of the country.
That's interesting. And I feel I'm falling, however, into the trap of looking at one side of the country. And of course, your book, A Flavour of Iraq, aims to do the opposite and tell us more about the real taste of Iraq. You know, prompted, I guess, by you having been born and raised here in France. I mean, I imagine your first trip to Iraq, that's when you saw it. It came even as a surprise to you, the reality on the ground compared to the image that we have over here.
Exactly. I had the chance to go to Iraq in '89. I was 9 years old. With all the cliché in my mind about Iraq, and what I've seen at that time was a happy Iraq. Even if I wasn't naive and I knew that it was a specific and different country under Saddam Hussein, but this is the Iraq I have in mind still today. And I'm chasing this Iraq. Even when I describe the situation, the violence and the war, I have this Iraq in mind, and it's very sad to see what happened in Iraq. And this is the aim of Flavors of Iraq, is to give this picture of an Iraq that is difficult to imagine today. Colorful, tasteful, and with a lot of happy anecdotes.
Indeed, and tell us a few of those, because in all war zones, I mean, there is still that ultimate culture and life that persists.
Exactly, and this is where you can see, even during the war and during the most difficult times, You can see Iraqi joking, you can see Iraqi living, having a life just 100 meters away from a very difficult situation. And this is a side that is difficult to describe sometimes, but this is, again, my most beautiful aim with Flavors of Iraq, is to give the other picture of the other side of Iraq.
And what for you is the strongest, the first flavour you think of when you think of Iraq? The
apricot ice cream, of course, which is my Madeleine de Proust when I talk about it. When I think about the apricot, I have very specific memories about Iraq. And I think we all have memories of our childhood with sometimes food or smells. And this is not a unique case when I talk about Iraq.
Yeah, that sweet side to Iraq. Well, it is currently out in French and Arabic, but there is plans to put it into English for us, hopefully next year. So all other people can delve in then. Mr. Feurat Alani, congratulations again on winning that Albert Londres Award, and thanks so much for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you.